You got the intro?
Yeah, it's done already.
Eli, can you hear me?
You're live.
Huh?
Yeah, yeah, we're live.
Oh,
We're
okay.
live. Yeah, we did the intro
We
already.
didn't
We're
have our
live.
intro music.
We
Little
did.
technical glitch there.
We did have it. It's been on.
All
It's
right.
on YouTube.
Anyway, welcome
Either way,
back,
welcome.
guys. Sports with Mono and Mono. Yeah. All right. So
It's there.
welcome back, everybody. Sorry for that little glitch in the beginning, but here we are with the show. It's December 9th, 2023. And a lot of stuff to talk about this week. It's been a good week. And at first, I wanted to give a shout out to Ben from Ben Fennel for being on the show last week. We had our best viewership for the week. It was great. Thank you again, Ben.
Yes,
And
thank you again.
also, let's certainly remember that this was the past week was December 7th, a crazy day in world history and changed the lives of so many people. And we always recommend, somebody just remembering days like that, December 7th, 1941.
Absolutely.
So we're going to jump into the monologue, which is sponsored by Coriano Trucking of Summer Hill, New York. And Eli, I'll turn it over to you for the monologue this week.
All right, so this week was obviously a crazy week, nonetheless, for the NFL and college football. The College Football Committee has made up their mind and their choices of who will be in the Final Four, playing in the Sugar Bowl, Rose Bowl, and of course the championship. Your list, of course, is Michigan at number 1, Washington number 2, number 3 is Texas, and number 4 Alabama. So Greeny went on the Pat McAfee show with Stephen A. Smith, and it was a fun-filled argument the other day. He brought up the question, what if the NFL did something similar like that when it comes to a college football debate or committee? What would that be like? How is it going? Is it going to be a good idea, a dumb idea? What it's going to be like? So it's obviously never going to happen because it's going to be too much controversy, too much trouble. I think it will never happen. It's a dumb idea, but let's just brainstorm an idea anyways. What would the possibilities be like if they did a committee? How would I make my committee if I was the person in charge of the whole thing? Well, to start off the committee, if this was to happen, I would say there'll be 6 teams. The number 1 seed would automatically go to the Super Bowl. And then you have 2 other teams in each division that will play a technical wild card spot to get into the Super Bowl. So you'll have 3 teams from each division, AFC 3, 3 from the NFC. First place goes Super Bowl automatically, and then the 2 battle it out like a conference championship. What would it be like in today's standings? But keep in mind, don't count what the records say. Well, obviously, we know number 1 for the AFC is going to be the Ravens, and then the Chiefs at number 2. Ravens look pretty good this year. Chiefs are okay. I would put them number 2. You would put number 3 as a surprise team. If you were given the option surprise team, my surprise team pick would have been the Texans because I think they have a story and they have a quarterback and they have potential. And I would give them a chance to win a Super Bowl. For the NFC, plain and simple, 49ers, Eagles, and Lions. Pretty easy, simple there on the NFC. But the AFC could get a little bit debatable. I would obviously not hope for a committee to happen, but what would your committee be like if this happened in the NFL? How would you format it? That is the question of today's monologue.
Yeah.
And that's how I obviously viewed it. Obviously we don't want it to happen. The College Football Committee is always dramatic enough when it happens, but it's just a crazy thought to happen. What if the NFL did it? How do you think everybody feels? We all know all the NFL fans are very passionate, so it will never happen. But it's always just a fun thing to just brainstorm ideas and just talk about these ideas, and that's why I brought it up in today's monologue.
All right. Good monologue. Sounds like you put a lot of thought into it for sure. I just don't see it happen, and I think
I don't think so either.
Right, but my point is with the NFL, right? There are divisions, and those interdivision games I think mean something. Otherwise, you take that away. Then the Philadelphia Dallas and those kind of rivalries get kind of lost a little bit.
Yeah, I know. It was just a fun idea to think
about. So I don't think it's a possibility, but you're right. I mean, there's no perfect system. We're going through this with the college football playoffs. We have 4 teams in there right now, and were they the right teams? Did Florida State get hosed on this? Yeah, you could certainly make a case for them. They were undefeated, and Alabama was not, and so forth. So not a perfect system, but yeah, it's good food for thought, Eli. Thanks for the monologue this week. Nice
Yeah,
job.
no problem.
All right, so listen, let's jump right into it. Let's stick with the NFL, which is
Yeah,
it's kind of getting down the stretch in the NFL, and a
crazy.
lot of things
That's the bottom
happening.
line.
You look on the surface and you go, okay, wow, the Chiefs don't look like the Chiefs. The Packers are starting to play better. One surprise after the other.
Right.
But situation with the Jets and Robert Saleh. I mean, he is absolutely has to go. This guy is not a head football coach. He has no involvement during the game, and off the field is back and forth with Zach Wilson. He's not in charge. He's not making any decisions. And if you're a Jet fan, you got to be frustrated as hell to have this guy as your coach. But is this the guy that
Well,
Aaron Rodgers wants to have? Because we know that Aaron Rodgers wants Nathaniel Hackett. So you could even make a case for the Jets. Somebody has to take the fall for this, and
well,
I think it should be Robert Saleh. And then you could even make Nathaniel Hackett because Rodgers is saying in the background nothing is going to happen to Nathaniel. Nate Hackett. It's not gonna. That's my guy. So I could see a case for the Jets saying get rid of Saleh, let somebody take the fall, and make Hackett the head coach or something like that. But I think something has to happen there.
well, here's what I say about this whole situation. Number one, Aaron Rodgers only played 4 plays with the New York Jets. He has not had the opportunity to play full. So obviously, Robert Saleh is going to stay as a head coach for a long time. And what I think he's doing is possibly right. Because if you think about it, look at other teams. For example, the Steelers. Maybe it wasn't their offensive coordinator that should have been fired. Maybe it wasn't Matt Canada that needed to be fired. When you look at that, for example, the Jets have an incredible defense. They have a defense that is the only thing that is saving them and giving them points on the board, as well as special
Hey,
teams.
Eli, let me say one thing regarding that. And they on paper, everyone says the Jets defense, but I keep saying these guys are still giving up 30 points a game. And I know they're on the
Not
field a lot.
necessarily. Not necessarily.
No.
Look at last week's game. It was 13-8 the final. Yes, they gave up 13 points, but they still gave up points. Half the night for the defense scored 2 points for the Jets for a safety. If you just relied on your
I know
special
last
teams,
week aside, but
-2 from the A. I'm just saying, from regarding that. But I think, and when it comes to the Jets standpoint, I think it is to give Aaron Rodgers one more chance, play 4 or 5 games. If Aaron Rodgers seems to not be the answer or seem to be the problem, then maybe it's the coach. But I think, however, it's the offensive coordinator that needs to go more for Saleh because that offense this year has been horrible. And they're up to their 4th quarterback that includes Aaron Rodgers, Zach Wilson, Tim Boyle, and another guy we don't even know his name. Come on. So
Simeon, Trevor Simeon.
Simeon, exactly.
Yeah.
You can't remember the name. That's how.
I know, but it's such a mess in New York. And like I said, from the Giants' perspective, we're hanging in there. I mean, we're not going to the
Giants are
playoffs.
done. Giants are done.
Yeah, we're done. We're done.
They have the Packers on
listen,
Monday night. You're relying on Tommy DeVito. That is
Yeah.
not going to be your true answer. You need Daniel Jones back to stay healthy, and you needed certain players to stay healthy. This is a horrible year for the Giants. They just need to push it aside and move along to next year. The Jets, you got to hope Aaron Rodgers comes back and then see who is the problem. Is it the offensive coordinator, your head coach, or maybe you just got no quarterback?
He is not coming back and playing the final 4 games of this season. He is not. He's not coming back. That would be impossible. Impossible.
Don't say impossible. I wouldn't say impossible.
But there's no reason to
there's
bring
a possibility.
that.
But there is no exactly. There's no reason. But I wouldn't say it's impossible. Anything's possible. I'm just saying that there could be possible. I don't think he will.
All right.
He shouldn't risk it. But yeah, that's it.
So listen, couple other quick notes in the NFL. I don't know how serious Trevor Lawrence's injury is. It may not be as bad as they originally thought it could be.
It is an ankle injury. It is a questionable day-to-day, week-to-week situation. Because we're week 14, I should see him back maybe for the week 18 game. And if the playoffs, if they can hold on to that secured spot, the Jaguars, I believe, have the Browns this weekend in Cleveland. So that should be interesting matchup to see without Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, they lost their another Monday night
Yep.
game, first time in Duval in 12 years. So that was an interesting fact. They lost in overtime, of course, Evan McPherson and the Cincinnati
Yep.
Bengals.
But when you look at the NFC, you first two teams that come to mind, right, are the Eagles and the
Eagles and the
49ers.
49ers. Yep.
And they had a showdown last week, and the 49ers took it to Philadelphia on their home field. And of course, you
Well,
mentioned before the show about the little skirmish on the sideline with
yes,
the head of security and Fred Warner, etc.
yes,
That was
yes.
kind of an
According to
ugly
that,
scene.
it was an ugly scene, according to it. Philadelphia's head security, as well as all the members of Philadelphia coaching staff, went to New York yesterday to the NFL Commissioner's office, spoke with Roger Goodell. According to this, fines will be given out to San Francisco today, and more altercations will be made ahead of tomorrow's big matchup. And regarding last week's game of the week, 49ers Eagles, I did not
Yep.
think it was the game of the week. I did not even think it was the game of the year. It was kind of a blowout slugfest. I thought the Bills Eagles game was a much more exciting game to watch. And there are two different divisions, and they're both like
Oh,
ahead / behind.
absolutely.
This game was not really as exciting as I expected to be. It could have been better. And the
Yeah.
4 o'clock window last week,
Blowouts.
last week's 4 o'clock window was not the greatest. This week looks pretty good, though. You have a pretty good 4 o'clock slate of window if you take a look at it. You have on Fox the Vikings Raiders. That could turn out good. The Seahawks 49ers. That's a blowout game for the 49ers win. The Bills Chiefs. That can go a long way. Broncos Chargers. That could be a good game because, hey, the
Yeah.
Broncos are getting good again. Chargers, they're home. So they could win, but they're also pretty bad. So
Chargers are terrible.
yeah, I know Chargers are terrible. I'm just saying that we do have a great 4 o'clock window next week to come.
Yep.
So if you this week to come. So
Well, we're going to
much
do
red
our
zone.
pick. Yeah, we're going to do our picks in a minute. I just wanted to also a note. Mike Evans, Tampa Bay, had his 10th consecutive 1,000-yard season, and that is
Wow.
second only to Jerry Rice all time. So that's
Pretty
10
amazing.
for Evans, 11 for Rice. So listen, when it comes up for it, Mike Evans is a Hall of Famer. I've known that for years, and that's a big milestone in the NFL.
Absolutely.
And no shame in trailing Jerry Rice in that category. It's pretty good.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. And keep in mind, I'm going to
Right.
have some quick NFL notes before we go to our picks. Justin Jefferson will play this weekend for the Vikings against the Las Vegas Raiders. That game will be in Las Vegas, Nevada, also where the NBA in-season tournament finale is happening. You have the Dolphins, Austin Jackson, a right tackle. He's signed a 3-year, $36 million extension with Miami. So that is some positive news there if you are a fan of him. We also have the Nickelodeon will be doing an alternate broadcast, as we mentioned, for the Super Bowl, and we'll also be doing it for Christmas Day when the Chiefs take on the Raiders. Zach Wilson starting again, and we could have our first clinching of the playoff spots with either Dallas, Philadelphia, or San Francisco, each potentially clicking a playoff spot this weekend. So just keep in mind, you could have 3 teams possibly making the playoffs or clinching the playoffs as of tomorrow, but you'll need some losses and wins to happen first from other teams in order for that team to make it.
Yeah.
So should be a fun one to watch, but 3 teams could clinch tomorrow. Carolina Panthers have officially been eliminated from the playoffs.
They're officially mathematically eliminated, no doubt.
Mathematically eliminated. They don't even have to play tomorrow. They already lost.
That's right. All right, so good stuff, good notes. And also, you mentioned the Vikings, so they decided they're going to stick with Joshua Dobbs, a quarterback, too. But I don't think that, Jefferson coming back is a big deal for the Vikings, but the Raiders, they're kind of in disarray too. So who knows on that game? But not one of our picks. So let's do our 3 picks. Last week, both Eli and I were 2-1.
Correct.
Pretty good. And we both lost on the Colts. The Colts Titans game, right? We both had the Colts.
But I did get the score right.
Right?
Yeah, you watched the score, even though I got it wrong. The pick, I did get the score right.
All right.
So I count in my book, even though I got the pick wrong.
Yeah, see if DraftKings are going to pay off on that bet, huh?
Yeah, no.
We
don't do that for gambling here.
So we got again, Philadelphia, Dallas is one one of our three games we're selecting this week, and I know Dallas has won 14 in a row at home, and they're looking really good. Prescott, Dak Prescott's having a great season. However, I look for Philadelphia and Hurts to bounce back and beat the Cowboys in Dallas for game one of our selections this week. Game two, the Rams versus the Ravens. And the Rams have been playing kind of pretty good. So it's not a foregone conclusion, but Baltimore looks really, really good as well. Right now, probably the number one team in the AFC, arguably. So I'm going to take them over the Rams. I think Stafford and that the defense of the Ravens can rattle him, and he's I'm not so sure he's 100% healthy either. So I'm going to take Baltimore in that game. And we got one of these marquee games, right? A rematch from the championship game a couple of years ago, Buffalo, Kansas City. And well, that was actually last year, I think, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it was last year. Yep.
Right. So I'm taking the upset. And listen, I'm going down on the ship. I've been all in on the Buffalo Bills and all year, and I think they still have a shot to come back to the form that they were last year. So I'm going to take them in an upset. And what's rare about this pick, Eli, is because I never go against Patrick Mahomes. But I
That's
don't
right.
think all is right in Kansas City, and I'm not hanging it on him. I just don't think he has the receivers he needs to, um, you know, be the dominant team in the AFC. But I'm going to take Buffalo in an upset in Kansas City.
So
So,
I
Eli, give us your picks here.
So I guess we do or die together for another week. I am picking exactly how you are. I am taking the Eagles over the Cowboys 35-24. I think the Eagles have a chance despite Dallas continuing his the home stretch. I think that the Eagles are the better team, so I'm taking Philadelphia over Dallas 35-24. Ravens, Rams. Ravens are an epic team. Awesome team. I got to take the Ravens 31-27. They're home. They're taking on Los Angeles. Should be a fun matchup in Baltimore in the rain. And of course,
Okay.
just want to say one note. The Taylor Swift was at the game. They still lost. So guess what? No matter if she's at the game or not, the Chiefs are not looking good this year at all. Therefore, I am taking for my upset of the week the Bills over the Chiefs, 31-28.
All right. Leave it to Eli to bring up Taylor Swift once a week during the show.
Listen, it has to be said. The truth has to be said.
I got you. I got you. I got you.
You
So
can't
that's
win.
good. Good stuff in the NFL. Good stuff going on. And your
Yeah.
Seahawks are in trouble. So
Oh yeah, we're losing this week, and no question to the 49ers. If I had my survivor pick still available, I would have used it for the 49ers this weekend because that's how confident I am that the Seahawks are losing this weekend.
okay. So let's move on to college football. And
All
so the
right.
Final Four is set, and kind of we touched on it a little bit in the monologue. What do you think of the matchups? You got Michigan, Alabama, Washington,
In Texas.
and
Texas.
Texas. Yeah.
Yes. Um,
Um,
I think I
you
agree
could
with
make
you.
listen. First of all, you could make a case that Florida State got kind of gypped out of going there. They were
Yeah,
undefeated, but I don't know.
I think it's a
What's
good
your thoughts
matchup.
on that?
I don't know. I think it's a good matchup. I know Florida State should have been in there, but you look along those lines, you hear the stories now on ESPN and all these other channels, and you're like, well, that might have actually been the right decision.
Yeah,
I think these are the correct four teams. I know it's the same old, but they're the four teams that deserve to be there. We know it. We all can agree on it. And let me tell you, that's four incredible teams, and that's a
yeah.
four
So,
incredible matchups. And I think they've done it right.
well, I think this is an interesting game because Michigan doesn't play Alabama very often. This is kind
No,
of
this is
a
rare.
great matchup. But the way
Absolutely.
Alabama has turned it around in the second half of the season, but Michigan has kept their foot to the pedal all season long. And I mean, the games are a couple of weeks away, but I think that's a good matchup. And also, yeah, the Texas matchup with Washington, because you got you have some Michael Penix. He's one of the Heisman finalists, which we're going to go into in a second as
We
well.
have a comment from Diego Cruz. He said Georgia should be in.
Yeah, I know. Listen, Diego, sometimes it's a matter of not if you lose, but when you lose. And
Yeah,
this was a big game. So that's why that happened. Listen, I'm a big Kirby Smart fan, but I think Alabama has rallied and they were able to beat Georgia, so I think they deserve to get in.
absolutely.
Um, so
Looking
the
at
other thing, yeah, go ahead.
Looking at the announcer schedule, Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit will be calling Alabama, Michigan at the Rose Bowl. Sean McDonough and Greg McElroy will be calling Texas, Washington, the Sugar Bowl. Both games are on ABC/ESPN, so you can check those
Okay.
out there. Pretty exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good thing. So we got the four Heisman finalists, and I think they're the right guys, right? You got Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Penix, Bo Nix, and Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, that's a good list.
So listen, my position all year. The year I saw Bo Nix have, I think he should be the Heisman Trophy winner, but you can't deny that this kid Daniels is probably going to win it. He's had quite a year, but they lost a few big games. So I think that has to come into play. And Oregon only lost twice, and they lost barely to Washington both times, one of the Final Four teams. So um, anyway, that's pretty good class right there. And, certainly, the past couple of days they gave out all those awards, right? Like the Biletnikoff Award for the best wide receiver. That goes to Marvin Harrison
Right.
Jr. And the Maxwell Award and the Davy O'Brien. These are quarterback awards. They go to Jaden Daniels. So the Heisman, it's kind of more ceremonial now, but it goes on the heels of what we talked about on our monologue last week about Barry Sanders. How humble he was to win the Heisman Trophy. I don't think this dictates who goes where in the draft at all. It's just a prestigious award. Daniels will probably win it, but I'm not going to be surprised if they select Bo Nix tonight in New York. So,
Yeah.
right. And what we always talk about this, Eli. So the college football transfer portal
Right.
is open for business, and some big names on there, right?
Yes, I
Kyle
believe.
McCord from Ohio
I
State,
just
and
mentioned that.
yeah, Gabriel from Oklahoma. These guys. Listen, I don't blame them because the money is there and they're taking money, and that's what this is all about. But it doesn't have that tradition where you could have a 2 or 3 year starter at a college anymore. So that's a little bit different about the game today and the game yesterday.
Right.
So Tyler Buckner, this was an interesting one. He was the transfer who left Notre Dame, went to Alabama. Saban gave him a half to play. He didn't do well. He's transferring, and not only is he transferring, he's giving up football and going to play lacrosse. How about that?
That's a good one. We have a comment
Right?
from Ed 10 Brooke. He says, she says, good morning from
Eric.
Eric.
Good morning, Eric.
to all
Thank you
Eric.
for
Yep.
listening. I appreciate it. Loyal listener there.
Yep.
So again, it's about the money, the portal. What is Deion Sanders going to do? How much money does he
Yeah.
have to spend? Is he even going to be at Colorado? If
No.
another job comes open, he might just as well take it. Never know. So college football is good, and yes, Eli, you and I talked briefly before today. The only game really on the slate is Army Navy, and it's always a classic game. Right? Not always
Yes.
the most exciting game from
Not
an
always,
action wise.
but it's a good one to watch.
It is.
Yes.
And
It's on CBS.
Army has won six out of the last 8 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And they're 2.5 point favorites over Navy. And listen, I don't care about point spreads. I don't care about betting, whatever. But I'm gonna say Army takes the Commander's Trophy today. What do you think?
Okay. I'm taking Navy. I've always said
Navy?
I'm taking Navy. Give me Navy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, listen, they both
said-
have pretty. Yeah, they have the same, basically the same records. Neither one of them is going to a bowl.
Yeah.
But the winner today gets their record to 500, so that's good.
Yes, it is. And good to be with you all, it says Eric.
Thank you very much. Eric's from Westchester, Pennsylvania.
All right.
We got him from all over the place, Eli.
Yeah, we
All over
do.
the place.
We do. And that's good.
Yeah. So, okay, let's jump in. Let's took football
Also,
apart.
one more thing before I go to from college football. Notre Dame and Peacock will be making their very own version of Hard Knocks debuting in 2024. They said, well, if the Dolphins did it, Jets did, and every other NFL team do it, let's do it college football style. So Notre Dame, since they're on NBC for their games, will be doing Hard
I didn't
Knocks coming
hear
to
that. Yeah.
they'll be coming to Peacock in 2024, the NBC streaming service.
Boy, they are in cahoots with Notre Dame on every single turn, aren't they?
Oh
Peacock and
yes,
Notre Dame.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow. Good stuff. So let's jump right into a couple other quick things. Major League Baseball. We've been talking all off season about what's
Yeah.
Brian Cashman going to do, and he pulled the trade. Um, all Yankee fans seem happy. I don't think the Verdugo one was a big deal, but the Soto one certainly was, and they got him. They're going to have to pay him if they want to keep him. So this could be you could have traded Michael King and some really good prospects for a guy you may only have for 1 year, but
Right.
they had to do something. They needed a left-handed bat in Yankee Stadium, and they went out and got one of the marquee guys.
Yeah, they did. And I think it was the right decision. The Yankees are back at it. They're really
Yeah,
good.
well,
They're getting there.
so the next big free agent, obviously, besides Shohei Ohtani, is
Tani.
Yamamoto. Right, he's the
Right.
pitcher from Japan. Um, I know Steve Cohen and the Mets actually went to Japan to meet with this guy and plead their case because, if it came down to it, money's not an object, obviously, for this guy Cohen. However, the Mets, they don't present a real good case for
Yeah, like a matchup. Like
come to the Mets where they've happy it was a disaster. But the Yankees really want this guy, and I don't know whether they're going to spend the money to get him. But that would be another blockbuster to fill the void of all the young arms they just traded to get Juan Soto.
yeah. We have a comment from Mark Garvey. He says Naples, Florida is where he's at watching. Looks like
I know.
from
Oh, it's
sports.
beautiful, Naples, Florida. No doubt. Hi, Mike.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
We also have some news coming in. It says that Eagles chief of security Dom DeSandro is being banned from being on the team's sideline due to the incident last week. That just came in on
Wow.
Twitter just now.
No
So
kidding.
he is banned from the sideline, but that is still obviously up in the air at the moment. So yeah.
Oh, well, now he's going to be a legend in Philadelphia forever now. Right?
Yes, and now the question is, how much is the fine going to be for San Francisco?
Yeah. Well, you may actually see a suspension for Fred Warner or something like that,
Absolutely.
or maybe miss the game. It's possible.
Oh yeah.
You never know. Right? So
Yeah.
good stuff. So baseball,
And
like I said,
Cleveland got
go
the
ahead.
number 1 pick. Cleveland
Who?
got the number 1. Cleveland Guardians got the number 1 pick for the MLB draft.
Oh, okay.
They're
But
winning it.
yeah, so there's gonna be some signings. It doesn't look like Shohei
Not much.
Ohtani wants to come to the East Coast, so he's not coming to the Yankees or the Mets.
Sorry, guys. No East
Yeah.
Coast fun for you.
No, he's staying out west. I can tell you right now. So we'll see how all that pans out. But Eli, we'll get to your NBA real quick. And again, you're more enthusiastic about this in-season tournament than I am, because I have zero interest in it. But the
Well,
quote-unquote finals, the Money Bowl, I guess you call it, right? So whoever wins this
500
gets to
grand.
divvy up. Yeah, they get to divvy up $18 million. So that's
Pretty
really
much.
all this matters.
That's all that matters.
So it's the Lakers and the Pacers.
Yes, tonight 8:30 p.m. on ABC. No surprise there. They're supposed to be there, and should be a fun one to watch. To get over with the season tournament is exciting. It's incredible to see how Vegas has been lately. I've been seeing a lot on X, formerly Twitter, that all the stuff that's been happening with all the decorations, everything that's happening. the NBA and ESPN TNT merge happened the other day during the semifinals. I thought that was pretty hilarious to watch. Stephen A. Smith and going out with Will Bonds going after Chuck and Shaq. That was hilarious to watch. So that was pretty fun to see the matchup on the two shows. They should be doing that more often because I think that was hilarious. And first time they both met at the same location, those two groups, as they're both on deck and on studio, not on deck and on studio, on campus of the finals in
Yeah,
Vegas, where the home of
right.
the Golden Knights play. But yeah, a lot of fun there.
And the only other two notes I wanted to bring up when you look like from futility perspective, the Detroit Pistons have lost 19 straight games,
Oh,
and the San Antonio Spurs have lost 16 straight games.
no good.
Right, so those are once proud franchises that are now at the bottom of the barrel. So,
Yeah.
but I will say this, and I don't know. Like I said, LeBron James has been in this league for 20 years now. He's still playing at a high level. Do I think he's the best player in the game anymore? Which he certainly was for many, many years. But
Yes.
he is playing some pretty good basketball for a
My
guy that's
answer my answer would be yes. He's always going to come down as a going to legend. There is no other competition right now. Unless somebody can name me a player that you would say is better than him that's active right now, I would like to hear it because I don't see it.
I would maybe say a possibility. Jokic or Kevin Durant. They're both playing at the top of their game.
Okay. Maybe Joe Kick, but not Durant. He causes too much trouble in the NBA for him to deserve that number one spot. So I would
Oh
say
no, no,
LeBron
no! This
will.
is all. This is all. Trouble aside, I'm just talking. Like I said, I can't
Well, yes,
stand these
playing the best
guys.
ball, but yes, but I would say for a passionate player that doesn't cause that much drama, LeBron James,
Yeah.
no
All
question.
right. So the final it's the Pacers Lakers tonight. I think so. For
ABC
you
8:30.
NBA fans, like I said, there's not a hell of a lot to get excited about at this point in the
Well,
season.
the sad part is there's nothing on television today regarding sports wise. They have the one game for Army Navy, and that's it. So if you're really interested, turn on the NBA in season tournament.
Well, if you want to say probably the Rangers from the NHL, they're hot as could be. They're leading the Eastern
Well,
Conference.
let's talk about the Devils. I mean, they're 13, 10, and 1. I mean, they come off a victory to the Kraken 2-1. They have Canada, they're in Canada tonight, take on the Flames at 4 o'clock tomorrow, 4 o'clock versus the Oilers. Should be a fun matchups there. Should be an easy wins. I'm happy with the Devils. Yes, they've been struggling. Yes, there's some problems, but they're a playoff team no matter what you say. And I don't care. The Rangers are
Oh
not going to
no,
win
I'm
the
not.
playoffs.
I'm not dismissing the Devils. I think they're a
I
good
I am
team.
dismissing the Rangers, however. But congrats,
Okay, well,
700th
I
game
will
win
say this:
trail
there
from
there there
the
there,
Devil.
there is a lot of parity in the NHL right now. A lot of a
Yeah,
lot of young stars are making it. Aside from like the Sharks or something like that, who don't have really anybody on the team, but most teams have their new up and coming stars. So there's a lot of parity. So it's a long
yeah,
season, and I'm not saying the Rangers. Even if they win the President's Trophy, which doesn't, that's normally the kiss of death in the NHL.
yeah.
But
I'm out of. I'm rooting for you guys to get the President's Cup. You guys go Rangers. Go get the President's Cup.
yeah, I know, because then we get knocked out in the first round, right? Yeah,
Yes, go Rangers for that
right.
perspective.
All right. So, good stuff, Eli. You're right. From a sports perspective, right now, it's in the last 5 weeks of the NFL season, and hockey's starting to heat up, and college basketball, of course, right? It's like the kiss of death in college basketball. The number one team always seems to get knocked off in the
Right.
past couple of seasons, anyway, right? So Purdue's gone, but college basketball heats up, and looking forward to that when it gets past the new year. Then you start
Yeah.
taking more of an interest before March Madness for sure.
Right. After the football for the NFL is over, college basketball's done in January. Then you focus really, truly on what the
Yeah,
NFL is about college basketball. And that's what I'm ready
you got,
for.
you got it. Hey, so listen, let's jump into some random points of interest. Of course, is sponsored by Lynch Toyota of Manchester, Connecticut. And he sent me some pictures yesterday. I don't know where he got them, but Michael
Yeah.
Lynch, thank you. It was pretty funny. Pretty funny. So, okay, couple of things. Jim Leland was elected to the Hall of Fame, and he was a great guy. But this goes back to when
Way
we
back.
bring up the term Hall of Fame. This guy, he had one World Series title. I don't know if I would consider him a Hall of Famer. I don't have a problem with it, but I don't think he should have went in before any other guys that have coached for 25 years. I was up in the air about it. Basically had a 500 career record and won one with the Marlins, but he's in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
And we just touched base before a little bit on the Shohei Ohtani sweepstakes. It's going to go on for another month, maybe another 2 months before we know where that's going to go.
Yeah, I
But
don't know where that's going.
yeah, but keep in mind, I mean, he's not going to be that two-way player for year one for wherever he lands. And speculation is it's quite possible he could stay with the Angels, and I don't see that happening because that
No.
franchise is never going to win. So that's the sweepstakes, and like I said, the money that the Dodgers and the Mets and the Yankees they can all afford this guy. It's going to be where he feels comfortable playing, and that's where he's going
Right.
to end up, and it's going to be on the West Coast.
All right.
I got another random point. So
I got
former,
none. So and
okay,
I
so
said
I
my only
got
problems.
John Smoltz, who's now one of the best broadcasters in the baseball business, I
Yes,
think for sure. Um,
absolutely.
Hall of Fame pitcher for the Atlanta Braves. He's actually trying to get his Champions Tour card, which is like the senior league. He's over 50 kind of thing. He's that proficient of a golfer, and he's taking this pretty seriously. This isn't some publicity stunt. This guy is that level, and at 50 and above, um, he's trying to get on that Champions Tour. He's played in a couple events before, but I wish him the good luck because he's a solid guy. Always been a class act, and he was one hell of a pitcher as well.
Absolutely.
I did want to bring up that we mentioned officially the high school football season, certainly over here in
Yes.
New Jersey, is over. And like we said all along, the best team in the state was Bergen Catholic,
Correct.
and they didn't disappoint. They held up
Correct.
their end of the bargain, and at the expense of St. Joe's and Del Barton, but they were the number one team in the state. They're probably in the top 20 in max preps nationally. So I wanted to bring that up. Um, Eli, I know this isn't your cup of tea, but I know a lot of our listeners enjoy when we get to Triple Crown season. It's
Oh
certainly a
yeah,
favorite time of the year for me.
I like that.
Um,
I enjoy it.
right,
I don't
but
really
this
talk
year,
about it, but
this
I do
year,
watch it when it comes time.
right, Belmont Park in New York is under $500 million renovation. So
Where are
the
they playing?
Belmont Stakes this year is being moved to Saratoga Race Course up in Saratoga Springs, New York. So
What's it gonna be called?
that's a
The
big deal.
Saratoga Springs Cup, or what is it gonna be named? Is it still gonna be Belmont?
No, it's still going to be the Belmont. However, I have a problem with this in one sense because the Belmont Stakes is the longest race of the Triple Crown. It's a mile and a half, which is why it's so difficult for horses who've won first two legs of the Triple Crown to win a Triple Crown because it's so far. It's a real marathon of a race. So the Belmont Stakes to me is going to be a little tainted. It's great that it's up at Saratoga, which I love. Um, but it's not going to be a mile and a half. It's only going to be a mile and a quarter. That changes a lot of things. So keep that in mind when we get to Triple Crown season about, if somebody comes out of there and has, wins the first two legs, the Derby and the Preakness, but it's a little bit different than me. So it's
It's
going to be a year and then it's going to be back at Belmont Park, but that's from the world of horse racing. Wanted to
ah,
mention.
that's good points.
Yeah. And one other quick thing. To me, this was a stunning announcement that John Rahm is going over to play Live Golf. He took the money and ran after all of the time. And listen, he's been one of my favorite golfers. I talked about it with some young guy that was really into golf, and we both like 7 years ago thought John Rahm was going to be the next big star, and for the most part he is. But he was steadfast in saying he supported and was loyal to the PGA Tour, and he decided the money was too great, so he took it and ran. So
Right.
that's a big blow for Rory McIlroy and all the other loyal PGA guys that don't want any part of this Saudi public investment fund in the game of golf. And that was
Absolutely.
big. That was surprising. That was
Yeah.
very surprising. Very
Yeah.
surprising. Anyway, so those are our random points of interest. And
Movie time.
Eli, so it's holiday season, and I want to wish you and your family a happy Hanukkah and
Happy holidays. Yes.
happy holidays and Merry Christmas, and we'll get all those out before the Christmas season officially begins. Believe it or not, it's only 2 weeks away. It's kind of
Yeah, it's
weird.
only 2 weeks away. I know. Shocking.
Right. So
How fast it went.
So we got to have our Christmas movie, and I have a recommendation, and I know you do too. So give me
Yes.
yours first.
No, you go first. I want to see what you have. Go first.
All right. And I know this isn't, maybe the young crew wouldn't be into it, but It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart. I hope you have seen this. Have you seen this?
Wonderful. No.
It's a Wonderful Life.
No.
It's always the #1 voted Christmas movie. It's an older movie from 1940 something, but it stands the test of time. So Jimmy Stewart, right, one of the all-time greatest actors. It's a good movie. If you haven't seen it, I recommend that.
I'll do for this week. Let's do The Grinch. It's an iconic classic. Everybody loves it. Mean one, Mr. Grinch. Funny one.
Are you referring to the Ron Howard produced movie or the animated cartoon?
No, not the animated. The original live action. That was the best one.
Oh, that was Ron Howard. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, I loved The Grinch, but I didn't love the movie. But that's your pick. It's fine.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'll do one more. Polar Express. That's a good one too.
You know, that it's an underrated one. Actually, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good movie. A lot of training.
But I still think the one that I did 2 weeks ago was the best one, and that was Elf. That's still my favorite.
Still good one. Yep. We'll have more next week.
We will. All right. So
the video
let's
time.
go into our notable passing segment.
All right, and then we'll do video after.
Yeah, we're gonna do the video after. Yeah.
All right. Sounds good.
No, you know what? You're right. Let's do that, and then we'll do notable passings. I got a little clip, little 20-second clip, and this is my Christmas card to all our loyal listeners here.
He's sitting in his chair. Huh? Is he Santa?
Me?
Yeah.
Dick.
He's sitting, yes. Say Santa.
Tata?
What does Santa say?
Oh.
How about that? Thanks for posting it, Eli.
No problem.
That's my grandson. I know people are driving, listening to the show, but if you can check it out on YouTube. And like I said, Eli, we always bring up, send us an email or comments during the show, or sports
we really appreciate it.
at gmail.com, so forth. So
yeah.
That's my grandson Hudson, 1 year old, and he does a great impression of Santa Claus with his ho ho ho. Yeah,
it's pretty good.
My buddy.
Oh.
So, from the notable passings, and this one from an entertainment perspective is big. Norman Lear, creator, producer, writer, director of all shows from the early 70s, which are considered classics, and obviously All in the Family and the Jeffersons and all of those shows. He was the mastermind behind it, and he was 101 years old.
Wow. And they're good shows too that you just mentioned.
Yeah, they are timeless shows, and the whole thing about it was, they were addressing topics back in the early 70s when there was, the Vietnam War and all that kind of stuff. He made television history by touching on some of those subjects and making, you know what, when if you don't laugh about things that are so terrible, then it'll drive you crazy. So, but he really left his stamp on Hollywood, no question about it. He as big as Carl Reiner, and I guess out of the big three, I always consider them the big three, was Mel Brooks, and he's still with us. But um, Norman Lear was 101, and like I said, just a gigantic impact in television history, without question.
Absolutely.
And we lost one of an actor from 70s, 60s, 70s, early 80s. Ryan O'Neal passed away. He was 82 years old. And I think that is one of my favorite Ryan O'Neal movies was Paper Moon, the one that he did with his daughter Tatum. That was a black and white film, but it was great. And Tatum O'Neal actually won the Oscar for Best Actress. She was only probably 10 years old. But Ryan O'Neal, of course, was famous for being with Farrah Fawcett for, the majority, second half of their lives, and great story. And I guess from a romantic perspective, the love story movie is well renowned, and he made his mark in Hollywood on that. And he was a great actor, pretty decent guy, and he was 82 years old. Need to bring that up. So Eli, what do you got going on this week?
Before I get to that, hopefully from Diego, hopefully Soto doesn't catch the lower body stiffness bug.
Yeah, well, this is the kind of, and I know where that's coming from, because nowadays when guys get hurt, they don't tell you what it is. They say it's an upper body or a lower body injury, so we don't know. But Diego and I make light of that. It's kind of funny. Like Giancarlo Stanton has an upper body injury, that kind of stuff.
Comment from Gary
Hey,
W.
look, we got a comment from our buddy Gary W.
Just stopping by to check with the two guys. The Eagles will hammer the Cowboys this Sunday. We both agree on that. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you too, Gary. And just so you know, Eli and I agree with you. So
yeah, we agree.
I can't believe I'm saying this. By picking the Eagles, I'm in fact rooting for the team that I hate the most in all of sports. So,
as a Giants fan, it's hilarious.
It's a business,
and it's all about the correct picks. All that matters.
Right. All right, Eli. So your public address and your play-by-play season's getting underway. Tell us about it.
This third Tuesday, the girls have another scrimmage game. I'll be calling that game. I'll either be at public address announcement or be play-by-play for that game. That is home. I don't know on the top of my head who they play, but they have a scrimmage game this Tuesday. Thursday, boys varsity starts. I will be doing public address for all the home games. Play for some away games, not all of them. I will not be at all of them, but I will be at some. I cannot wait.
Good.
I love public address announcing, and should be fun to watch. And great season ahead for both the boys and girls this upcoming season.
Okay, and you believe it, your St. Mary's boys team is going to have to take on my St. Joseph Regional High School team. Yeah, so
it should be fun. Yeah,
they're kind of usually pretty good in high school basketball.
They're very good, but a lot will happen until February 9th. So until then, that's 2 months from today. Can you believe it? 2 months from today, St. Joseph's plays St. Mary's.
But I will also bring this up because I always give St. Joe's a plug. They have one of the best wrestling teams. They're actually ranked number 7 nationally already.
Well, St. Mary's also has a good wrestling team too. They actually brought back the program last year. I believe Anthony Marino is a top guy for St. Mary's. He's only in his sophomore year. He's an excellent wrestler. So pretty cool. Should be fun to watch wrestling as well. I might be doing some wrestling games, so should be fun.
Oh. Actually, I've never even been to a wrestling tournament in my life, and St. Joe's had a good team too.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think Bobby broadcasted, but I'll maybe try show up to one.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Listen. So again, please send us comments at sportswithmano@gmail.com. And Eli, have a good week.
You too.
All the best. We will. So thanks to everybody for listening. And again, we nailed it last week.
Yes,
our
we
show
did.
is picking up steam. We're really excited about it. And Eli, let's get some other guests on the show. And
all right, we'll work on it after the holidays.
You got it. All right.
Have
So
a good one,
listen,
everyone.
enjoy your week. Thanks for joining us, everybody. And we'll see you same time next week, 10 o'clock.
Yes, indeed. Bye bye.